Winter, an improvised mystery by Shorty. Let's see where this audio takes us. Veronica. I twisted my toe around the chain of the plug hole and pulled it from its seat. The water escaped from the bath noisily, and I hopped out, not wanting to be sucked down into the depths of the drains, and to who knows where. Once, when I was a child, and looked at the plug hole in the sink, I believed there was a fish there, as every time the tap dripped, it looked like there was a fish eye, blinking, there within the hole and the depths. With every drip, the eye blinked. I wrapped a thick, lush, cosy towel around myself, and found a smaller one for my hair, tying it up and twisting it on the top of my head. I imagined you waiting for me, lying on the bed suggestively. My heart flipped. I licked my lips. I took the towel from my head and thought I'd casually walk in, toweling my hair dry, all nonchalantly and innocent. So that's what I did. I casually walked in the bedroom, toweling my hair. Oh, the room was empty. The door closed. In a way, I was relieved, but also disappointed. As then I noticed the kimono on the bed was the red one. What the hell? I touched it as if it wasn't real, and wondered. I checked the wardrobe. There was no turquoise kimono to be found, but still the empty hanger. Am I going crazy? Or colourblind? I slipped the kimono on, tying the belt securely around my waist. Instinctively, I put my hands in the pocket and felt on the note. It was still there. I drew it out and read it again. But this time, I could see it was different. Not the words, they were the same. But the handwriting and the paper were different. Meet me at the lake house. But no time, just those words. Was this Max wanting to meet me? Wanting to have some fun? Playing a trick? Of course I'd go. Why wouldn't I? I love a mystery. And I needed some excitement. That was definitely for sure. I left Mother's room and hurried to my own. I dressed in a simple white summer dress and comfortable sandals. I didn't bother applying makeup, as in the back of my mind I thought, maybe we'd take a swim in the lake. I hadn't done that in years. Julius was always putting me off, talking of fish that would nip at my toes, or poisonous pondweeds and the such. But I think he just didn't like the water, and was jealous of me having any fun. I walked across the expanse of the lawn, through the bluebell wood, which was alive with birds and animal sounds. Past the graves, I gave them a deferential nod, and whispered a small good afternoon. I would bring them some flowers later. A few more steps, and there was the lake. To call it a lake was generous. It was more a very large pond. Also, the lake house was more of a cabin type affair. When we were children, in the summer holidays, we were allowed to have friends stay over. It comprised of 3 rooms, a bedroom, a lounge cum kitchen, well, the kitchen was more of a bar, to be honest, and a small toilet. How we loved those summer sleepovers and birthday parties. The bar, the alcohol removed of course, was always stocked full, busy pop and wonderful treats. Julius always played barman, mixing up strange concoctions, utilising the paper umbrellas, cocktail sticks and cherries. Of course, being twins, our parties were always mixed. Sometimes it was excruciatingly awkward, especially the closer we got to puberty. But it was always fun, full of silly pranks and laughter. Of course, sadly, we weren't always left to our own devices. Every so often, mother, father, or a staff member would check in on us. And when we were smaller, we just had parties up at the house. I was thinking of these memories as I looked upon the scene. The lake still, looking cool and inviting. Dragonfly and other insects were abound. But I could see no other life. Maybe Max was inside, waiting for me at the bar, with a delicious mocktail in his hand. As I grew closer to the lake house, it looked kind of forlorn and faded. I wondered why I'd kept away so long. I felt like I had abandoned an old friend. I yearned to be 10 again, and being scolded for running barefoot on the slippery deck of the veranda. But before I could reminisce any further, the door to the lake house opened. There stood Julius, and his new girlfriend, I assumed. That horrible, stealing waitress. He was tucking his shirt in, and she was behind, pulling it out again. Obviously not finished with her fun. Julius turned and grabbed her, and picked her up, and took her back inside, kicking the door closed with his boot. Oh. I just stood there. And that's all I could think was, oh. Something splashed in the lake beside me, and I jumped. Just a fish coming to the surface. I felt resentful that they were here using the lake house. Also regretful that I had not used it or utilised it in so many years. And that why had I become so boring, so stuck, when Julius had found it all too easy to move on and have fun. And what had happened to that brother that I loved from long ago? He just wasn't the same anymore. He used to give a damn. About me, that is. I felt like I should leave, that I was spying or an interloper. But no. Without thinking, I took off my dress and plunged headfirst into the water. Gasping at the coldness, I resurfaced. Why shouldn't I? Why shouldn't I swim in my own damn lake? I convinced myself. So there I was, treading water in my underwear. And I didn't care. I lifted my face to the sun, closed my eyes, enjoying its golden warmth on my skin. My short-lived reverie was broken by Julius's shouts. "What the hell are you doing? Get out of there!" I was so shocked and flabbergasted, my head went under for a few moments. I could still hear Julius shouting, but thankfully the sound was muffled. Oh Lord, that's the last thing I need, a scene. Especially with her, said watching. I didn't want to be taken down a peg by Julius. So I swam underwater, through the reeds, to the edge of the lake. And when I resurfaced, I was hidden. I could hear Julius still shouting, though there was a note of fear in his voice now. I enjoyed it. Maybe he'd think I'd drowned. He'd be sorry that he shouted at me. What right did he have anyway? I hid in the reeds for quite a while, listening to the commotion, and then I felt bad and shouted, "I'm fine! I'm over here." I tried to exit the water, but the bank was slippery, and I just couldn't get a purchase. The mud squished between my fingers and toes. I tried to grab at the branches of an overhanging willow. No dice. I then started to imagine the strange fish nibbling at my toes, and increased my efforts. I was about to slip down for a fourth time, when a strong hand grabbed my arm and hoisted me up, dragging me onto the bank, like a wet, muddy, bedraggled mermaid. I raised my eyes slightly and saw 2 pairs of legs. One, I'm pretty sure was Julius's, and the other's was the necklace stealer. Oh no. I looked up at her face. She was all too pleased. As I lay at her feet, soaking wet in my underwear. Well, my darlings, I hope you liked that little tale. And if you think you'd like me to get my tongue around something a little more spicy, why not join my Patreon? Talking of Patreon, here they are. Shenanigans, Billy, Roxy, Oz, Living Lightning, Pokemon UB, David, Adam Striker, Nikki Phantom, Pillowy Slave, Danny D, Glutamus Maximus, SVA52, Mordred, Stephen, Campaign for a Better Weekend, Fire, Outsider HB, Giova Lucky, B, Ted, Jelly Mage, Aaron, Cryptid, Curlessness, Cubby, Tamwin, DZ, Nazgul Cookie, Epsilon, and P. Brian 74. Thanks, guys and girls. I love you.